Hi, this is Natalie Adi, and this little video is about the 13 lunar tones in the Mayan astrology birth chart reading. So the Mayas understood that, well, first of all, there were 13 full moons in a year, in the same time that the sun takes to get around the sun once. The moon goes 13 times around the earth. So we see 13 different phases or like shades of the moon. And so there are 13 tones, like shades or tones, like when we would say the color blue. Okay, but what shade is it? It can be light blue, turquoise, dark blue, mauve. It can be different shades, and there's all blue, but each shade is slightly different and very important, the difference. So the same way, each solar sign has 13 different shades or tones. So for the solar sign sun, for example, there is sun number 1, sun number 2, sun number 3, until 13. So the difference between number 1 and number 2 is, it's slight maybe, but there is a difference. And those 13 tones set like the path of evolution in a lunar way, not in the solar way, in the lunar way, which are like more maybe subtle yet potent and very real. So this is what I'm going to explain to you right now in this video. So let's begin with number 1. 1 is really depicted as like, okay, why? First of all, in order for us to be here and talking at all, we need to be born, okay? And we need to be on this planet, and we need to have come from another dimension all the way here to begin with, right? Okay, so why? Why? What is the purpose of our existence? Like, that's the classical philosophical question, right? But it's like, who did we come to be? Like, what's the purpose of our being here? Of our being here, like on this planet, but of our being, like who we are, the being that we are. Why? What's the purpose of it? What marks the purpose of it? Number 2 is 1, 2. It's duality, confrontative, challenging, opposite. So 1 is very easy. It's what's the purpose? It's one, unity, right? Unity consciousness. So that's like quite simple when there's no opposing factor and obliging us to, work through our shadow, our duality, right? So 2, that's what it represents. Like, what's the challenge? What is gonna be the challenge? O sea, how? Yeah, I know the purpose now, but okay, how am I gonna do it? Pragmatically. So number 2 represents the challenge, the difficulties, or the thing that I have to work on. But that also, paradoxically, like number 2 represents duality, paradoxically, it also means that there where I'm gonna make most effort, and there where I'm gonna face my challenges, that's where I'm gonna grow the most, right? Because in order to even advance with like 3, which is still the beginning, you have to overcome 2, right? Without 2, there's nothing. So you can have a purpose, but if you don't face your challenges, it won't keep going. Like we can get stuck, so we have to overcome the challenges. And so in there, there is the strength, there is the empowerment, there is the force, like the growth, the expansion. They're exactly there where the difficulties are. So that's what number 2 represents, like what may be very challenging for me all through my life, but at the same time, what will be my asset? Like, where will I grow strongest, maybe sometimes in some aspects. But that doesn't necessarily mean that once I'm strong in some aspects, then it will cease to be a challenge. No, it will always be a challenge in my life, but in your life, in someone's life, but you can get really good at it too. So that's number 2. Number 3 represents service. So I like to look at it like, okay, number 1 is like, you have to cross the river. And that seems so easy. Oh, cross the river. Okay, yeah, now I know what I'm supposed to do. Number 2 is like, okay, so, well, then cross it. How are you going to cross it? Oh, I have to think about that one. And so, you figure out a way. Finally, you cross it. And now, when you're on the other side, then you can be of service to somebody who has not yet crossed it and who's looking for ways to cross it. And you, now that you have crossed it, can be like, hey, look, do like this. Like, you can be of service. But service isn't necessarily only you serving another and that's your service to another. If you think about it, service is really, if you see that somebody's trying to cross the river and you know how to cross the river, you've crossed it, and you see somebody's trying, but you can't just leave and not help him without having bad consciousness, right? So service is, first of all, for you. What serves you? What serves me? What serves me the most? And in that serving me, myself, in there is my service to another. So because I don't want to feel bad about knowing that somebody needs my help and I can help him and I won't help him, that's just going to go bad for me. So in order for me not to feel bad and carry that consciousness with me, I will stay and help. And that also, by chance, also serves the other. But that's service to me, and therefore that service to me is in itself service to another. I don't know I hope I got that message out clearly, but sometimes we tend to forget that that's the way that it goes, because, we're always like, yeah, serve others and be of service. But of course, your cup has to be full in order to pour out of it and help others, right? So maybe concepts we all know, but it's good to remember them. Number 4 is, now that you've helped another, don't you feel good about yourself? Now that you've been of service, isn't there a nice solid structure that one feels within themselves, right? 4 is also the 4 points of a square. And so if we look at it in that sense, 3, triangle, not a very stable geometry. 4, a much more stable geometry. It's still 2-dimensional geometry, but 4 is the first area of a square, the first geometry that gives us stability in the middle. So in the middle of the square, there is stability. That's a sensation of feeling solid and stable and anchored and rooted, and like a solid base beneath your feet. So that is the sensation of number 4. What makes me feel solid and anchored and on my steady ground? Yeah, what gives me self-sufficiency, self-sustainability? It's called self-existing in the New Age English term, but so more or less, yeah, self-sufficiency, self-existing. But really that's, why? Because it's 4, it's a more stable number. Number 5 represents the vortex that comes out of that very solid square base, right? And what happens there? What comes out of that center of that solid base is in fact a vortex which creates a pyramid. And that now is the first 3-dimensional figure, right? Because there is a solid base, there's a force that comes out from the center. And that force is natural, it's a vortex. And that's what number 5 represents. It's like your natural strength. Like, you don't have to work too hard on it. It's a natural thing that you have once you, of course, feel solid within yourself. And so, we're looking at it like linearly, kind of, but it's not, doesn't happen linearly, really, but it's a good way to understand it. So your natural strength, your natural mastery, your natural ability to just ace at something, be good at something without much force, much effort. It's like you're naturally good at it, at something. Whatever you have in that position of number 5 in your chart, that's your like underlying natural innate strength. So number 6 is really representing like if it's a spiral, 5, okay, there's no corners. We draw it as a corner, but there's no corners really. It's a spiral from 1 to 13, but it's kind of, how you organize yourself until the point where you find perfect equilibrium. It's like the two pyramids, one facing up and now another facing down, and now you have an equilateral, two equilateral triangles, one facing up, one facing down, which create then a sphere, right? And now you have the famous, Star of David, or the double star, and there in the middle of those two, there is perfect equilibrium, right? That's why it creates a sphere. Now this is the first 3-dimensional object that has perfect equilibrium, because with the pyramid there isn't. So that's why 6 represents perfect equilibrium, like equilibrium, rhythm. How do I organize myself in order to find my own rhythm and to find perfect equilibrium within myself, like within my life? How do I organize myself in order to keep the momentum and keep the pace? What's my pace in life? Maybe others go super fast and that's their pace. Maybe I need to slow down and that's my pace. We don't all have the same pace, so that's very important. Now number 7, now we're halfway, like from 1 to 13, number 7 is halfway, and 7 is the number that represents resonance. And resonance is really about like, okay, so far, halfway, so far, do I resonate with what's going on? What I'm doing, does it resonate with who I am now? Like, I keep changing, we all keep changing, and what I did before may not resonate with who I am today. And I have to check in. I have to have those moments of checking in with myself and my life and my actions and my, the echo of life that comes back to me, like the whisper or sometimes even the loud scream that like comes back to me. I think I might be doing something like very well, but if life is throwing back at me an answer that is making me see that something's not resonating, then I have to look at that and see, well, I want it to resonate. I want there not to be a dissonance but a resonance, because it's as if you go into your car and you hear a noise that is not usual and that doesn't sound very good. There's a dissonant noise. So you're not going to continue your long journey in the car that doesn't sound very good, because you might not end up at all where you were destined to go, right? So you have to stop the car, have a look, open the front, check it out, and see, okay, what's not resonating, what's the sound, what's making the sound, and see what was going on to align it and to go back into resonance, right? So that's the same thing as number 7. Whatever you have in that sign, that's what it means, right? It's like the retrogrades in the zodiacal astrology. Like retrogrades are moments to stop, look back, see what's going on, revise, look again, see if there's something missing or not, or if everything's going as planned. Or so these are it's similar. 7 is similar to that. how to be in alignment with your true self, really. So number 8 is integrity, integration. It's called galactic, but I mean, that's also still a new age, term that they put to this number, which, but in essence, the way that I understand it, of course, is after you receive all this resonance, all this information, you have to, at some level, integrate it. Otherwise, the definition of integrity, we say, is like somebody that thinks, speaks, acts, all in the same way. Like if you think one way, you say it, and if you say it, you do it, and that's an integrous person, right? If one is not very integrous, they are not very straightforward, not very upright. They kind of have a wishy-washy column, back spine. Like it's not very clear. And on the contrary, integrity means how do I integrate everything inside myself to such a point where I come to a straight line of integrity, that okay, what I do, what I think, what I say, what I act, how I live, how I eat, how everything is one and the same, and it's very clear. It's like a straight bow. When you shoot a bow and arrow, the straighter the bow, the more precisely you will reach your target, right? So that's integrity. What will align you to your integrity? How do you integrate the things in your life until you find your true integrity? So that's number 8. Number 9 is the bow that shoots the arrow. It's the shooting of the arrow, actually. It's okay. What's my intention? What's my intention? Like here on earth, like not as a who I think I am and my job that I do and what I'm doing in life, but who am I being? Who am I? Like, what is the intention of my existence here? I have a purpose, but like, what's the intention? Behind my purpose, behind what I do, behind everything. Like, what's the it's like a shooting star that leaves its stella behind. The shooting star is going to a specific place and it leaves its stellar behind, but it's not really focused on the stellar, but it's so determined in where it's going, like the bow that is going with the, like the arrow. I mean, the bow that's shooting the arrow. It's so determined that the intention is so clear that it will obviously leave a trace behind it with everyone you meet, with everyone you interact with. Like your intention, the intention of your soul's existence here will leave a mark, will leave a trace behind. So the more aware we are of that process, of that trace, of the energy we are here to leave behind, the more we can, integrate it and use it accordingly and appropriately to the best of everyone's interest, to the highest good, right? So that's number 9, intention. And so number 10 is the arrow actually arriving to its destination. 8 is the arrow, the straight arrow. 9 is the shooting of it with the bow, and 10 is like when it actually lands. Where does it land? How did it land? The manifestation. It's so the clearer you are in your integrity, the clearer you are in your intentions, of course, the clearer you are in your manifestations. It's also, number 10 is also representing how you manifest yourself in the world. So what do you have in that sign? I mean, in that tone, what sign do you have in that tone will maybe speak a lot to, like, how do you come forth in life onto others in this world? What face do you put into the world? Not that you're, putting a mask or something, that you're hiding your true essence necessarily in the sense of like that you want to hide. It's just that we all have a mask. We all come out of our houses with a certain face. Within our houses, in the home, cozy home, we, are very ourselves, and then we come out into the world and we use a certain like personality, a certain way of being. It's how we manifest things in our lives. It's how we come across to people. It's how other people see us. It's not necessarily everything who we are, all the complexities of who we are, but it's how other people see us and how we get things done and how we manifest things. That's manifestation, how we expose ourselves and how things get exposed in our lives. And so that's number 10. Number 11, is like when you put your cards on the table. So when you put your cards on the table, that's like you manifesting. Okay, that's my full house. That's here. Those are my cards, like the expression says, I'm clear. I'm clean, open here. Look at me. Those are my cards. That's number 10. And once you do that, 11 is like, okay, I'm liberating. I'm liberating my cards. I'm coming clean with who I am. There's nothing that I'm holding on to. There's nothing that I'm holding. There's nothing left to hold on to. I'm on my way out. It's a 13 tone cycle. So 11 is almost at number 13. So almost there. So it means really 11 is like liberation. Liberate everything. Just let it go. Do a cleanup. Let everything just get rid of everything, And it's a sensation of liberation inside. It's like when you finally can just be free, And ultimately we need to liberate ourselves from ourselves. Right? Because who are we holding on to anyway? Who I think I am, that also can be liberated, all right? And then I will be truly free. So liberation comes through letting go and through really just being empty and being an empty channel again, and really just having an empty plate, So an empty cup. And so whatever energy you have there in that sign and that tone, that's going to help you to liberate yourself all the time. Every time we always have to keep liberating. So that's how you read it. And then number 12 is once you have all of your energy freed up, now you have time to dedicate. You're free. You have nothing else to do. You've freed it all up. You're absolutely present, available, free. Nothing else on your agenda except to dedicate, devote. So where you have like infinite energy for what are you going to devote? Like what did your soul come to devote itself to? So sometimes it can coincide with somebody's job, if you're lucky to have a job that, meets your vocation and all of this. But not necessarily. I mean, So what's your devotion? What's your dedication? What does your soul dedicate all of its time and just energy to? That's number 12. And because number 13 is transcendence. It's on your way out. And so how to transcend yourself, how to transcend everything on this life, how to transcend everything on the planet, how to transcend all the pettiness, all the, mundaneness, how to transcend even your own attempts of being the best version of yourself, how to transcend, really transmute and take the jump from one existence to the next, that whatever you have in that position, that's how you will transcend, not only at the end of your life, it's every day, it's non-linear, so it's really how to overcome and see above and be the bigger person in your life. That's number 13. So thank you very much and looking forward to a reading with you. Bye.